Have you ever wondered how a single color can transform a portrait? Today I'm painting my absolutely adorable baby nephew Jesse using a blue underpainting. Yes, blue. But don't worry, we're not leaving him looking like a little smurf. This technique actually helps build depth, contrast, and luminous glow that makes skin tones come to life. I'm going to show you step by step how to use this method to create a soft, realistic portrait while maintaining that adorable expression. And of course, I'll be sharing plenty of tips along the way. So let's get into it. The paper I chose for this project is Arsh 140-pound cotton cold press watercolor paper on a block, and I've taped it down to size 5x7 for easy framing. My brushes are silver black velvet and Da Vinci Colineo. I'll be using a size 8 round brush and a size 0 brush for the details, and also later on I'll be grabbing a smaller size 6 round brush. So I have an extra brush for blending. To do the drawing, because this was a portrait done for my sister-in-law, I wanted to make sure I captured the perfect proportions. So I did trace this on using transfer paper. I printed the photo in the exact size and then traced it on with that graphite paper. Now for the blue underwash, I'm using Core Phthalo Blue. This is a beautiful blue that's non-granulating, perfect for that smooth, soft baby skin. So I'm using this instead of my ultramarine blue because ultramarine does granulate and I want to avoid that as much as possible. So I'm mixing up a really watery mix of just phthalo blue with my larger size 8 round brush. And I'm actually going to try to merge the background with all of the shadows that I see inside of the baby's head. So working quickly, I paint that into the background, just avoiding the top of the head because I want that to be a warmer color, so no cool tones in there. But you can see I'm pulling the blue into the side of the head, along the shirt, on the cheeks, and across the brow, anywhere where I see sort of midtones or definitely inside of the shadows. So all the way across the eyes. Now you can see the necessity of needing to blend a little bit and soften these edges. So I do have a second brush here. This is a size 6 round brush with just clear water on it, which I'm using to scrub out those edges and soften the transition. And then I switch back to my size 8 brush that's loaded up with that watery blue paint to continue moving along with that skin tone. For this technique, you want to work quickly so that you can maintain a nice soft wash all the way across without any splotchiness or blotches. And to do that, of course, you have to just keep that paint moving. So you want to plan ahead for where you have your lightest lights. And that's why I've left the cheeks, the nose, the forehead, and the top of the head untouched with blue. But everywhere else, I'm taking all of that phthalo blue across the shirt. And this area where the sleeves meet the arms, I'm probably going to leave really loose and expressive. So loose, scrubby brush strokes for this area. Now, if any of your blue areas get a little too dark or you've covered up highlights, you can go ahead and take a clean, damp brush and gently scrub that area back to white. Of course, phthalo blue is slightly staining, so it may not be pure white, but that's the result. So I did get some blossoms there on the left side. It's mostly in the background, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. You can see this is how it looks after it's dried. For the next layer, I'm using a warm yellow. This is Holbein GAMBOGE Nova. And I start at the top of the head, moving the brush in the direction that the hair is growing, and just paint that brilliant watery yellow across the hair. I do avoid some of the white of the paper for the shiniest bits of hair. And of course, where I covered the blue, you're going to see it turning slightly green. So this can be a little bit of a scary step. We don't want to leave our baby green, that's for sure. But this is a gradual process of warming up the skin tone. So yellow is the next step. I'm going to take that all the way across the neck. And again, still avoiding my brightest highlights. While that's drying, I can use a mixture of burnt sienna and my phthalo blue to create a gray for the shirt. This is the area of the painting I want to leave more loose and expressive. So I'm just roughly blocking in the shape of the shirt. Now, for even warmer skin tones, I move on to one of my favorite combos. This is Winsor Newton Transparent Orange and Daniel Smith Quinacridone Rose. Alternating back and forth between different ratios of these two colors, I can create a beautiful skin tone over the top of that blue underpainting, still avoiding my highlights and using a second brush to smooth out any edges. I also cover this across the eyes because the whites of the eyes are rarely pure white, especially when they're deep in the shadow or with this overhead sunlight. It's quite dark actually, so I'm painting over those eyes with an initial wash of my transparent orange and quinacridone rose combo. I also use this for all of the dark shadows on the cheeks and on the neck, that double chin, and I try to create a gradual transition from dark to light on those rounded rosy cheeks. Here I'm still using my larger brush, just blocking in these details, avoiding a couple of highlights on the lips. Still with my mix of transparent orange and quinacridone rose. Working mostly wet on dry, I've got to be very careful to control how much water is in my brush, especially for these small shadow details. And then I use that second brush to soften any edges and to create a smoother transition from dark to light in these areas where it goes from shadow into the sunlit highlights. Then I go ahead and fill in the brow as well. As we gradually build up these layers and darken our values, it's going to start looking much more three-dimensional, and the expression will really come to life. Now, areas like the ears and the nose, these are spots where you can really introduce a lot of reds. So this is quinacridone rose in more of a pure saturation. I'm using this across the eyes and the forehead as well. And again, using that second brush to blur out and soften. Now for more of a purpley brownish mix, which you can kind of see if you look at the reference photo, I introduce some of the blue to my combination of transparent orange and quinacridone rose. I use this combination to continue darkening that shadow on the cheeks and under the neck. It's important to mix up your colors though. Don't just take pure mixes all done on the palette across your washes. Otherwise it's going to look rather flat and drab. Try to do some mixing on the paper. So for example, you're going to want to introduce more orange in one section and then put some more blue next to that, and you'll see the colors mix and soften next to each other really naturally on the paper. It looks so beautiful in watercolor. Now I've moved on to my size 0 round brush for these tiny details like hair and lips, using more quinacridone rose in the lips and going darker and darker with my shadows. Again, just with that combination of phthalo blue, quinacridone rose, and transparent orange. The eyes are also a mix of my primaries. I haven't introduced any indigo, black, or any darks like that. You can use just primaries to produce a really convincing black. And as always, it's really nice to have a second brush so that you can soften out any edges. By the way, if this video is moving a little too quickly for you, the fully narrated real-time version of this tutorial is available through my Watercolor Mastery membership. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check that out. The goal is to work general to specific, so you'll see me starting with larger brushes and then switching to smaller and smaller brushes as I introduce more details and start to finish up the painting. So even with these brush strokes on the hair, I started with a size 8 round brush and then switched to my size 0. And I use a quick feathering motion, pulling my brush in the direction the hair is growing. You can also spread out the bristles of the brush as you see here for the illusion of soft, separated hairs. Make sure to leave highlights in that hair, especially if it's right in the bright sunlight. So important for the most luminous watercolor paintings to leave some of the white of the paper showing. It's also nice to add some dry brush, so you can see I used a couple of quick brush strokes on the shirt, just quick swipes of the brush, and it looks really nice. And if you feel like there's still too much coolness in the skin, you can continue adding some subtle washes of yellow, as you see here with the GAMBOGE Nova. I wanted it to just look extra bright and warm and sunny. And then to make Jesse's shirt stand out more from the background, I thought it would be wise to darken the background behind him, since his gray was looking like the exact same value as the background and just kind of blending in too much. So I took a mix of phthalo blue with a little bit of burnt sienna to dull it down for the background and decided to darken that one more time. Then I used my tiny size 0 round brush to finish up any details in the face and just add subtle little touch-ups that probably only I notice, but I think it helps. One more wash in the background. Since watercolor dries lighter, I often find I need to continue darkening as it dries. And then a couple bold brush strokes using phthalo blue in the shirt to finish it off. There's my finished portrait of Jesse. Isn't he absolutely adorable? I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one.